Alright guys, my name is Brian and welcome back to another episode of Firebird Fridays. Today we need to tackle the rear brakes on our 67 Firebird. As you can remember in our last episode that we did probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, we redid the front brakes. Now remember, this 67 Firebird has drums all the way around, which it won't stay that way for long. But in the meantime, we need to make sure we have stopping power when we go to take this for its first drive in 25 plus years. If I lived out in the country, I probably wouldn't be as concerned, but I live in the city and I gotta make sure that this thing can stop when I hit that pedal. So we replaced both front rubber lines on the front and we were able to get the fronts to bleed. We were not able to get the rears to bleed. And so we figured it was probably the same single rubber line that's in the back of these F-body cars. So we ordered a new one. And we need to install it today. We need to make sure we can get those rear brakes to bleed out before we put this car on the road. So with that, let's grab that rubber hose. Let's get it installed. Let's make sure these brakes in the rear are set to go so we can take this for a cruise, hopefully this weekend. All right, enough of that. Let's get into this. All right, so we finally have the rear brake hose for our 67 Pontiac Firebird. So let's get underneath there. We're going to pull off the entire 2 hard lines that attach to this. We're going to take that whole assembly out and put it on the bench and replace this line. So let's get underneath there and let's take care of that. So there's a metal tab that holds the metal brake line in. Take a screwdriver, get on the back side and just kind of pry it up. It just kind of loops over and holds it down. Let me get that out real quick. Okay, you can see how that just lifts up. And now you can move this up and out of the way. Next, get in there with a 10 millimeter and you'll take this line off. There's also another one of those clips that hold that brake line in right after the wheel cylinder. All right, so we have the brake line, rear brake line out. That goes to the 2. This is that rubber hose that we're going to replace with this one. So let's get this in the vise and we'll get these 2 off. We'll put them back on the new one, put it back in the car, and we'll bleed the brakes. All right. Get this in. Try to get it out of here. Grab the knife. Grab the wrong one, son of a butchie. All right, and then we'll take this one off. And now we'll grab the other side. Well, we installed the new rubber brake line. We blew air through the lines to make sure they were clear. We had bubbles up in the master cylinder, so everything's cleared there. But again, when we went to bleed the rear brakes, nothing is coming out of the rear wheel cylinders. So it's back to the auto parts store. We're going to buy new wheel cylinders for both sides, and while we're there, we might as well buy new brake shoes. They're cheap, like 25 bucks, and a new spring kit. And let's get all that installed, and let's hope by the end of this video we at least have brakes all the way around this damn thing. So let's get back to it. And if you're new to the channel, thanks for watching, guys. I'd appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button and help me out along the way here as we restore this 67 Firebird. All right, back to it. All right, so we picked ourselves up 2 rear wheel cylinders. Picked ourselves up a spring kit and, of course, new shoes. So let's get this installed. Okay, give me kisses. Give me my kisses so I can Look into my video, okay? Okay. You go lay down now. Let Dad get this done, okay? Yeah. Okay. Go lay down. Alright guys, so take a drip pan, put it underneath here, take a can of brake cleaner and just spray this all down so you can get plenty of fresh stuff in here. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is down here is lift up this plate. It's the little arm that keeps it taut or clicks on it. So if you lift it up, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it smaller. Make it as small as you can. Okay, then when it stops moving, it's as small as it can. Then you can kind of just open these up, pull them apart with shoes. And normally, there it comes. Get a screwdriver maybe. There it is. Now, don't get these mixed up. I'm on the driver's side, and as you can see, the wheel is going to face to the back of the car. So that obviously, on the other side, it will be flipped. It's a mirror image. So, take that and put that aside. Here's our shop dog. Okay, come on, let Dad finish. Go lay down, go lay down. Yeah, go lay down. Go lay down, go lay down. So, there's a spring right over here. And usually you can take a screwdriver, just a flat tip, and you can get in there and pull that out. There she is. That'll come out. And again, driver's side, so it came out like that. This here part was pointed back. Not that way, but that way, pointed back to that. So there's that spring. Now it's done. Typically, I'll disassemble this side here. Take a pair of needle nose pliers, and we're going to grip onto this and pull it off. Push in, twist it until it lines up with the pin. There it is. And it will come off. That's a short little spring. Okay, that's going to be loosened up. You can see here this big one with the hook goes that way onto the, this would be the slave one. This is the primary. Then you have a metal hook that runs here to here, and then you have one to here. So, probably should have taken this one off first, but either way, next one we'll take off is this one. Same thing, push in, turn it, and it'll come out. The side that goes on the forward facing one has kind of a little tapered edge. See if I can show that tapered edge one, and that's going to go on this side towards the front of the car in that way. Now, once you have that, those are the two that hold together. Typically, I'll come in and we'll pull this spring here out. Okay, take a bigger pair of vice grips, grab onto the spring, and you're going to pull it off. Come on, puppy. Come on, puppy. Sit, sit, sit. Got it. And this one here comes out. Just like that. That's how this one comes out. Next one to pull off is this spring here. And all you have to do is just kind of lift up on this and kind of move it, and just move it around, and she'll come off. I'll show you what just dropped out. And you can then release the tension on that. And that's that spring right there that goes in that hole right there. Now what fell out was our little push rod that goes into our wheel cylinder, which we'll replace that as well. So we'll take that out and just put it over here. Next, lift up on this, and you should be able to pull this out now. And it looks like this here was in between that rod on top of that. Kind of keeping all that compressed in. So when this side comes off, there's that hook, and then we're missing on both sides. Yeah, we are. On both sides, we're missing the parking brake lever on this car, so I'm going to have to order those eventually and add those when I have some time. So with that, we'll take off that. And then this is your adjuster right here, and it just simply pulls out. And there's a spring here, and a spring here, and then a little cup that comes out that way as well. We're going to reuse this, except for this. So keep that as a unit together. And now we have both pads, or both shoes I should say, off the car. Oh yes, forgot about this. And there's that other piston on the other side of the wheel cylinder. Take that out. And then this is the parking shoe adjuster type thing. And there's a spring. And that spring only goes on one end. And it's going to face off to your primary shoe, while this goes to your secondary shoe. And there's a little bit of a kind of a U or a dip, and it goes in just like that. So towards this way. Okay, with all that done, you have your parking brake down here cable, which we'll have to deal with later. You have one pin. That's all it is a pin on this one side. And then you have another pin on this side as well. So the last thing we're going to take off is going to be this wheel cylinder, and you take off, and I'll show you that back here, but you're going to take off the hard line, brake line, and there's two 1/2 inch bolts that hold this on and then we'll just pop this right out. Alright guys, so behind the wheel here you can see that hard brake line that comes right into the wheel cylinder. Go ahead and get your line wrench, get it on there. Hopefully you've soaked this thing in penetrating oil for a minute or two, and then just take your time and just undo it. Get that line out of that wheel cylinder, because we need to have it out of there to take the wheel cylinder out. Next, we need to take off the two half-inch bolts that hold the wheel cylinder to the car. Simply just take your socket and get those out. Okay, so I removed the hard line and the two half-inch bolts that are here. So now this wheel cylinder will just pull out. And look at that, she is crusty. These look like to be the original wheel cylinders for this car. So we'll get our new ones and we'll install those now. Okay, new wheel cylinders. Plastic. Okay, so here's our new ones. I'm going to take off this little red protective cover. And we're going to put it in just like this. Hook up your hard line first, then your two bolts. Alright, so we now have our new wheel cylinder in. It's not tight in the back. I've just hand tightened both the line and the two bolts. Now we're going to put everything back together. Get your new shoes out, and you can tell there's two different size shoes. There's a bigger shoe and a smaller shoe. The bigger shoe is the one that has most of the stopping power. It's going to go to the back of the car. The smaller shoe, your secondary, goes to the front of the car. So let's install this first and we'll move forward. Get your kit with all your springs and things and get your new pin that goes in this way and get it ready to install. You can, if you want to, clean this up a little bit, check on it, but as a unit, unless there's damage or your new kit comes with a spring, mine did not, you can replace this spring. There's also a spring that goes in right here that rides against the shoe when it goes in. And that shoe goes in with this round thing up top to hold against that pin. So what's going to happen is that hole there is where it rides in, right there. So grab our kit and we'll find those. Alright, so take your pin, stick it in on the back side, kind of hold in there. Take the one that has the cap on it, stick it in to there, like so. Grab your primary shoe, and you're going to stick that right into there. Now, I don't have the parking brake handle on this side, but if you did, you would put it into this slot here, and I'll have to come back and show you that, guys, later. But this is the start of it. And then make sure you put that spring in right here. And yeah, it's kind of a balancing act to get all this shit together. And you'll come in. Hold that pin in place. Kind of line that shoe up. Take your spring, stick it in there. Take your new top hat, and we're going to put it on using our vice grips. Okay. to the pin, turn it. Stuff will fall out. Okay. Next, take your pin, stick it back in, and it goes in, where's that? Right there, kind of that indentation. And then it slides into that groove. Okay, so next, I'm going to take this rod that we took off earlier, and it's going to hook on down here on the adjuster screw. And it should, if you move it right, it should just slip. Might need a screwdriver here to a little bit of leverage. There we go. Big fucking hammer. Put it in its place there. Next, you want to find the spring that kind of looks like that one there, and then put that into place. It's going to go into this hole here, and then loop around that right there, like that. We'll do that now. So in it goes. Okay, and then gonna have to stretch it up and in there. Okay, it's on now. Okay, so we got those two done. Okay, time for our secondary shoe. What we're going to do here is take your other push rod and make sure, like I said, that little notch goes up and in to the other side of that cylinder. Get her in there. Okay, then want to take this spring, your new one, the blue one, or whatever color it may be, that little small end goes in right there. And if we're lucky, we can kind of hook it in and pull it. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. We're going to have to navigate this down. There we go. Okay. Now that push rod is in. Second thing we need is the hump. Remember, goes in like this. This part, the spring should go to here. And I know you won't be able to see it because of the hub here, but it goes in a little groove. You can kind of see where these two little things go in at. So you kind of slide it down this way, and then bring it up, hook it in, And if you need to, take a screwdriver and kind of put it into place. Come on. Into there. Goes on. Twist it. There it is. Okay. Last is the bottom spring here. It's going to clip onto one side and you're just going to stretch it across. Okay, last but not least, I'm going to put this in. Chop dog back. No, sit, sit. Okay, next we'll put our adjusting screw in. It goes in like this. Put it in. Oh yeah, dog wants to investigate. Come on. And we'll just push those springs, those shoes back, and we'll drop this in. Okay, she's in. Alright, so next you want to make sure all these are tight and torqued down. Make sure that hard line for the brake line is down. And we'll put our hub back on. And we'll adjust the brakes. And you adjust the brakes by spinning the rotor down here until it just touches and stops things. And then you can pull it back and it will keep everything in place. Alright, well, that's how to do the rear drum brakes on a 67 Pontiac Firebird, which is a standard GM 9.5, 9.5 inch brake rear drum setup. So, alright, well, on we go. Well, at least we know we have the brakes, at least in the rear, completely rebuilt, and still we can't bleed them. So I guess we need to replace that master brake cylinder up front, bare minimum, and if we're going this far, yeah, we're going to need to just go ahead and replace all the brakes all the way around. I was hoping we didn't have to, but the cool thing is about GM 9.5 inch drum brakes, they're cheap as shit to replace. So I guess next video next week we'll get the fronts done, and we'll see where we end up with all this brake rebuild on our 67 Firebird. Thanks guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video out with your friends. See you guys next Friday.